I'm David Ledford. First tonight, breaking national news. Former President Trump says he's safe and well after what the FBI says was an attempt on his life today. Authorities have a suspect in custody, identified as Ryan Wesley Routh. It's the second time Trump has been targeted in just over 2 months. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the latest.
The FBI investigating a second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump, this time at his golf course in Florida. Secret Service reported shots fired at 1:30 p.m. Sunday outside Trump International Golf Club where Trump was playing. A Secret Service advance team spotted the gunman before they opened fire.
What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel, stick it out of the fence, and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off.
The suspect tried to flee in a black Nissan. A witness reported the license plate to police.
We were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy.
Along the fence line where the suspect was hiding, Secret Service found an AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks, and a GoPro. The shooter's position within striking distance of the former president.
Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
Trump was not hurt. President Biden and Vice President Harris were both briefed and issued statements saying they're thankful for Trump's safety. J.D. Vance also posted on X that he spoke to Trump, who was, quote, in good spirits. It's not clear when the alleged assassin started trailing the former president. Sunday's round of golf was not on his public schedule. The FBI and Secret Service are handling the investigation. Connor Hansen, Fox News.
And in May now, an update today in the fatal multi-vehicle crash on I-95 Friday. The woman killed in the crash is being identified as 68-year-old Sari Omar of Brewer. Maine State Police say shortly after 3 p.m. Friday, traffic was stopped southbound on I-95 in the city of Augusta due to a construction zone lane closure. In that stopped traffic near exit 113, a pickup truck rear-ended an SUV, triggering a 5-vehicle crash. The driver of the SUV has been identified as Omar's husband, 70-year-old Leslie Omar of Brewer. He was taken to Maine General Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the pickup truck has been identified as 28-year-old Robin Carter of Limerick. He was also transported to Maine General Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Sari Omar was pronounced deceased at the scene, as was a dog in the vehicle. The other injuries in the crash were non-life-threatening. The crash remains under investigation. And in other news, authorities say a police chase out of Milford ended with the suspect taking his own life Thursday evening. At approximately 6:30 p.m., the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office says they received a reported violation of a protection from abuse order in Eddington. Later that evening, while attempting to locate and arrest the male suspect, officials learned that he had fled from the Brewer Police Department during an attempted traffic stop. Investigative leads confirmed that the suspect had admitted he failed to stop for police, made life-threatening comments, and was in possession of a firearm. At around 10:50 p.m. that same night, the suspect was located in a Milford business. The suspect reportedly fled immediately and led police on a chase through multiple towns, ending on Copeland Hill in Holden. Authorities say the suspect slowed down before attempting to take his own life with a handgun. The vehicle then left the roadway and ran into a fence near a residence. Medical personnel made life-saving efforts and the man was taken to a hospital where he died from what authorities say was a self-inflicted gunshot. In other news, an investigation is underway after the discovery of human remains in Bangor on Friday. Just before 1 p.m., the Bangor Police Department says they received a report that potential human remains had been found in a wooded area off of Texas Avenue. Police say initial findings do not indicate that there is a criminal element involved in the death of the individual. The remains will undergo further examination by the medical examiner. And a man convicted of assaulting a child in Somerset County on Wednesday attempted to escape a Skowhegan courthouse. Our Callie Warren has the story.
He just panicked and ran out of the courtroom, ran down the stairs, through the hallway, out the door.
After receiving a guilty verdict, a man tried to flee the Somerset County Superior Court by running down this very set of stairs, still handcuffed.
It was all captured on CCTV. 31-year-old Nicholas Carter of Fairfield ran out of the Skowhegan Superior Court on Wednesday after he was convicted of aggravated assault on a 14-month-old child.
Well, anytime that a person is in court as a defendant, it's not unusual that there's an emotional type reaction to when they're found guilty.
Witnesses say he leapt down the stairs and got across the street from the courthouse before falling down and getting caught by jurors.
I heard a boom, bang, crash. It was really loud. And so we looked up the stairs and I saw a man coming down. He was trying to take 3 stairs at a time and steady himself because he was handcuffed.
According to Somerset County Sheriff Dale Lancaster, Carter will now face a felony escape charge.
Presently, he's incarcerated in the Somerset County Jail, awaiting sentencing because of his actions, and he will be charged with escape, but that's a separate case.
In Skowhegan, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Switching gears now, a key milestone has been reached in the Maine Connectivity Authority's goal of high-speed internet for every Mainer who wants it. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has more on the project known as MooseNet.
MooseNet, the Maine online optical statewide enabling network. Yes, it's a real name.
Andrew Butcher, the executive director for the Maine Connectivity Authority, says the MooseNet program will lay over 500 miles of fiber optic cable throughout the state to serve what he calls the middle mile.
Middle mile being the way in which internet comes into and out of the state.
Butcher says the goal of MooseNet is to target areas of the state with some of the least access to high-speed connections.
MooseNet essentially has significant routes throughout Franklin and Somerset County, central Maine, with a spur down through Lincoln County and across into Washington County.
One of the goals for MooseNet was to help future-proof our infrastructure while providing the best possible internet with the least amount of network friction.
So fiber are glass tubes about the width of a human hair that serve to transport the laser beams of the internet that get pulsed throughout it. And so that glass represents a more frictionless way in which the internet can get transported.
According to Butcher, the goal of expanding Maine's connectivity is big, but making these milestones on projects makes it all worth it to see the efforts grow.
I mean, one of the joys about working on connectivity in Maine is that people really care. And people really care because this is a key to how we are able to live where we love.
Butcher says after they select a contractor, they will begin laying the cable for MooseNet in early 2025. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Gwen Walz, the wife of Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz, made a stop in Bangor Friday to stir up enthusiasm for the Harris campaign ahead of this year's highly anticipated election. Walz was also joined by several of Maine's political leaders to speak on issues important to the party. I caught up with the campaign to learn more. Take a look.
We are choosing a new way forward.
That's the message Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz brought to Bangor voters on behalf of presidential nominee Kamala Harris Friday. With the election right around the corner, Walz made 2 stops in downtown Bangor in an effort to reach undecided voters in Maine's 2nd congressional district. The visit comes hot on the heels of the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, which became a big talking point of the trip.
She owned every issue, one after another, and we saw a stark contrast there. Her opponent just spewed just that same old nonsense.
Walz was joined by Governor Janet Mills and Congresswoman Shelley Pingree to help spread one of the values important to the Harris campaign, education.
We know that if the other team, the other side is elected, It'll be goodbye to the Department of Education.
A point that was shared with future voters during a children's book reading.
We're going to protect things like making your own choice to read books and your parents' choice to read books.
The future was a topic echoed by Maine leaders who came out to show support.
Well, I think that Vice President Harris represents the future, more turning the page, and that her opponent is more just regurgitating the past.
And young voters we spoke with say that's a message they appreciate.
I think it's great that the national campaign is showing interest in the 2nd Congressional District, because it's a more rural area and it's one that's moved away from the Democrats in recent years.
Walz rounded out her trip with an appeal to all voters.
I'm asking you to have hard conversations with your undecided neighbors. I'm asking you to be brave.
In Bangor, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
After years of providing care to the people of Brewer, Dr. Adam Lauer is retiring. Hundreds attended a retirement party and fundraiser for him at the Brewer Auditorium Saturday evening following news of his cancer diagnosis. Dr. Lauer was diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer last year and was told it had progressed to stage 4 over the summer. Although he was unable to attend the event, his family, friends, and patients rallied around for the retirement event and fundraiser, which was emceed by our very own Beth Jones. Dr. Ellen Lauer, his wife, says it's heartwarming to see the outpouring of support.
It really means a lot to us to feel this love, support from the community, and we appreciate everything that everyone has done for us, all the prayers that they have sent, and the love that we feel.
For more information on how to support the Lauer family, visit our website at foxbangor.com. And in other news, September is National Recovery Month. It's a time to promote prevention, treatment, and recovery from substance use and mental disorders. Wellspring, a local nonprofit in Bangor, provides mental health and addiction counseling. On Sunday, the organization held its 9th annual Race to Recovery 5K on the waterfront to raise funds for all its programs that support those in treatment. Our Jody Hersey has more.
Along the Bangor waterfront, runners and walkers took off for Wellspring's 9th annual Road to Recovery 5K race, all in an effort to raise funds for those fighting addiction.
So when we think about a continuum of care to help people get well who suffer the disease of addiction, there's 3 parts. There's prevention, there's treatment, and there's recovery. At Wellspring, we do the treatment portion. We're the bridge to help folks get from treatment into recovery.
For Dakota Rummery, this race to recovery is personal.
I wanted to come to the Run for Recovery because my father passed away of an overdose, and I'm in recovery myself, and I thought it'd be a good way to honor the memories of my family members and all the family members we've lost along the way.
Buddy Grant, Alexis Irving, and so many others say they have benefited directly from Wellspring's services.
They're essential, you know, they save people's lives.
The thing about it is people, they don't see the other side, and their pride kind of steps in and they don't want to ask for help. They don't think there's help out there, but there really is, and recovery is amazing.
Wellspring's Clinical Director of Residential Services says events like this race are crucial to supporting those working to maintain sobriety.
It does take a village. It takes the community. That's one of the things that we really encourage people to make sure that they're reaching out, that they're going to 12-step programs, they're going to churches, they're going to functions, they're doing anything because people are dying alone. So we recover together so we don't have to die alone.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Raising awareness for an important cause there. And now let's turn things over to Chase Ropenack with our first look outside.
Thank you. Looks like we got some great weather out there. Lots of high pressure in the region, so no rain in the forecast. Just lots of sun and blue skies out there for us today, so nothing to worry about for the next few days as well. We can see temperatures got pretty warm out there. We can see Bangor a high of 79 degrees, Millinocket at 80. Many other areas in those upper 70s, the low 80s. We can see that down to the southwest where Lewiston hits 78 degrees and Augusta just near 80. And we can see that as well up north, Presque Isle and Holton up in those upper 70s for today. So lots of warm temperatures across the state. For tonight, we are going to have mostly clear skies. A few clouds may roll in right around 2, 3, and 4 a.m. Other than that, lows are going to drop down to those low to mid 50s.
All right, thanks, Chase. Still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, a festival celebrating all things transportation in Bangor, and a look at how some history lovers took a step back in time this weekend. Those stories and more local news when we come back.
I lived and worked in Maine most of my life, and now I'm getting by on Social Security. People like me are struggling to heat the house in the winter. Energy prices are out of control, and it's devastating for seniors. But Jared Golden voted for Biden and Harris's tax that raises heating prices even higher. It's outrageous. The Liberals changed Congressman Golden. He's leaving Mainers out in the cold.
Restoration Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I was hurt in a bad motorcycle accident. I tried to handle it on my own, but I could tell quickly I was in way over my head. The other driver's insurance company was very difficult to work with. That's why I decided to call Joe. Smartest move I ever made. I went from being completely overwhelmed with doctor's appointments and medical bills to feeling normal again. Joe Bornstein's office took care of everything. I was completely satisfied with the outcome. I wish I'd called sooner.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Grab a cup, fill it up, top it off, weigh it up. Here at Sweet Frog, you are in total control. Sweet Frog, where our secret ingredient is fun.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out Half Off Fun from foxbangor.com.
Bangor Brewer bowling lanes on Wilson Street in Brewer, featuring 24 lanes of candlepin bowling and a big arcade room where kids can win great prizes. Glow bowling on Saturday nights from 7 until closing. Bring your entire family of fun entertainment for all ages.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with Half Off Fun from foxbangor.com.
Welcome back. More now in local news. This weekend, the 25th Annual International Water Rescue Instructor Academy invited dozens of firefighters to learn and spread their training. They say this course has led to hundreds of lives being saved. Allison LaPierre explains the ripple effect this water rescue training has had across the country and beyond.
Water is really, really important to be able to respond to effectively for the safety of the responders as well as the citizens.
35 hand-selected firefighters from all over the U.S. and Canada are participating in this year's International Water Rescue Instructor Academy. This boot camp style training takes 4 days. These first responders will do 15 hours of classroom learning and 20 hours of in-water training.
But the idea is not only to train their own fire department members, but also to train the community so we can prevent drownings and aquatic injuries from occurring.
Developer of life-saving resources Jerry Dworkin says the academy is dedicated to drowning and aquatic injury prevention and emergency management. He says drowning is one of the leading causes of accidental injury death in the U.S. For children under the age of 5, it's the leading cause of death. It can take only 30 seconds.
Water is a hazard, and anytime the public is around water, especially with kids, they need to be vigilantly supervising those kids. Lives have been saved as a result of the training that we've conducted and personnel that have conducted and trained them. So it's very fulfilling for us to hear something like that.
The program involves 3 water rescue training locations, a swimming pool, lake, and ocean. Kerry Gardiner, a firefighter from Canada, is making his first trip to Maine. He's enjoyed ocean rescue training and the valuable skills he's learning.
A lot of fun being out in the ocean and stuff. Different in way, we have lakes and streams, but that ocean part and just how it reacts in the waves and stuff like that, it was a lot of fun to learn how to do that in rescues in that kind of water.
Once the course is complete, trainees will be authorized as water rescue instructors and can train others in their communities, passing along these life-saving skills.
In other news, thousands of people across northern Maine rely on the Millinocket Regional Hospital. However, hospital officials say the aging condition and size create challenges for patients and staff, but they have recently announced a multi-million-dollar expansion plan that will carry them into the future. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
There are many hospitals across the country that are closing post-COVID. We don't want to be one of those.
The Millinocket Regional Hospital has been serving thousands of patients across rural communities for decades, but hospital officials say they have outgrown their aging facility.
Our ER is very, very cramped. It's about 5,000 square feet, and all of our rooms are relatively small.
But CEO Dr. Robert Peterson says that is all going to change as they plan to triple the existing footprint of the emergency room with a $15 million expansion. Much of the funding is coming from grant funds approved by Senators Angus King and Susan Collins, as well as ARPA funds from the Penobscot County Commissioners.
This is a huge step forward. Without that, we couldn't have even started this project.
The building has not undergone any expansion since the 90s. Dr. Peterson hopes this will also encourage growth amongst the community.
Us building a new wing on our hospital should send a message to the other businesses in town. If the hospital is investing in its infrastructure and they're growing, then I should be investing in my business.
They plan to break ground within a few months and hope to see it completed by fall of 2025.
I want the community to get the best and highest quality health care that's possible. So by doing this project, I think that we're taking a major step in that direction.
To learn more, visit foxbangor.com. In Millinocket, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Switching gears now, vehicles of all shapes and sizes were on display at the Transportation Festival in Bangor today. This large Touch-a-Truck event was held at Coles Museum on the Perry Road. That's where visitors got to check out over 60 different vehicles from a wide range of occupations. There was everything from fire trucks and construction vehicles to 18-wheelers and life flight helicopters. The event was all part of Cole Museum's Heroes and Heritage Weekend.
I think it's great to show them something other than things that they might have to go to college for, like being in construction and doing utility work and all of that's just equally as important, and having the resources here to do this for them is great.
The museum says it had 1,110 visitors at today's festival, a record attendance for a single museum event. And dozens flocked to the streets of Bangor Saturday to step back in time for the Bangor Historical Society's largest post-pandemic exhibit. Our Callie Warren takes us to the first ever Bangor History Hunt.
The history of Bangor in this region, there's just so much out there.
History lovers in Bangor got the chance to dive into the Queen City's past on Saturday. The Bangor Historical Society celebrated their 160th birthday by scattering 160 historical artifacts around the city for the first ever Bangor History Hunt.
We have cared for the history of Bangor and the region for 160 years. This is our first history hunt. Hard to believe in 160 years we haven't done it before.
Teams and individuals scouted for rare items from the Historical Society's collection during the event, which participants describe as both fun and challenging.
We're totally in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Historical Society curators say the event is more than a scavenger hunt or an exhibit. It highlights important details of Bangor's past.
That dress is from the Civil War. It doesn't get to be out very often.
Details the Historical Society rarely gets to show.
But we also have relics of the fire of 1911. We have a ton of different dresses and clothing, kind of ranging from the 1870s through the 1970s, so you can get a little bit of everything.
Participants say it was a fun way to discover more of Maine's history.
Bangor's history is really interesting. It's been a city for a long time and has so much deep history, and it used to be so different from how it is now.
The historical artifacts will be on display at the Bangor Historical Society through October. For more information, visit our website at foxbangor.com. In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
When we return from break, hearings set to begin Monday into the 2023 Titan submersible disaster, and TikTok will face off against the Department of Justice tomorrow in federal court. We'll be right back.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
Mainers have been setting lobster traps for generations. But less than 2 years ago, they were this close to going out of business because of new regulations from Washington. Then Jared Golden stood up to Joe Biden and his own party to protect our way of life. Today, we are still fishing thanks to Jared. Some say Jared's gone Washington. It's true. He's gone there to tell the DC elites not to mess with us.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Here at the Eddington store, we have what you're craving. From Holton Dairy Farm products to our daily breakfast, lunch, and dinner specials. Did I mention we have fresh cut meat? From hamburg to steaks and even fresh produce, we have what you're craving. And while you're here, don't forget your ice cream at the Dairy Bar and homemade whoopie pies. Are you low on fuel? We offer gas, diesel, and propane too. The Eddington store, for more than your average convenience store. We look forward to seeing you.
Back by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
If you've been injured, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Welcome back. Hearings set to begin Monday into the 2023 Titan submersible disaster. The submarine suffered a catastrophic implosion in June of 2023 while diving to the wreck of the Titanic, killing everyone on board. Now investigators want to find out exactly how it happened and who may be at fault. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has more.
We're expecting this hearing to give us a closer look into what caused that deadly implosion. Guests paid some big money to ride on the OceanGate Titan sub, and it's been to the bottom of the ocean several times to see the Titanic wreckage. But in June 2023, the sub imploded about an hour and 45 minutes into a voyage, killing all 5 people on board, including OceanGate's CEO. The Marine Board of Investigation chair says this is the most complicated investigation he's ever been involved in.
We recognize the immense pain and enduring grief this tragedy has caused. And we've been driven by a shared resolve to honor their memory by conducting a thorough and impactful investigation.
The investigation into all of this is still very active. The hearing is for the Coast Guard's MBI to consider all evidence surrounding the Titan's implosion. The Coast Guard says that includes everything from pre-accident history, crew member qualifications, the sub's mechanical systems, and more. The hearing will likely last about 2 weeks, and we're expecting to hear from about 24 witnesses, including top OceanGate employees, a National Transportation Safety Board engineer, Coast Guard members, and more. The Titan sub had an unconventional design, and it's raising a lot of questions about if disaster was inevitable given the way it's built. Particularly, there's concerns about the materials used for the Titan's hull, which many experts are saying were risky. Meanwhile, the family of one of the 5 victims is suing OceanGate for $50 million. His family says he would have never joined the Titan expedition if OceanGate were more transparent about its sub. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
In other news, will TikTok get banned in the United States after all? Oral arguments set to begin Monday in federal court. Lawyers for the popular social media app will make their case that the proposed ban passed by Congress earlier this year is unconstitutional. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more.
TikTok and its China-based parent company ByteDance are set to face off against the Department of Justice in a high-stakes federal court hearing in D.C. on Monday. ByteDance has until January 19th to sell TikTok or face a ban in the U.S. Since President Biden signed the bill into law in April, the social media company has called it unconstitutional, adding it singles them out. In a June court filing, they laid out the lengths they say they went to try and mitigate national security concerns. They also insist that separating TikTok from ByteDance is impossible. And even if it were doable, they say the app would be, quote, reduced to a shell of its former self, stripped of the innovative and expressive technology that tailors content to each user, unquote. The Justice Department maintains the Chinese government can use TikTok to gain access to the personal data of Americans. It accuses the company of downplaying national security risks. In this filing in July, they say TikTok's arguments that it cannot be divested from ByteDance underscore Congress's concerns that its U.S. operations are ultimately subject to the direction of a Chinese company subject to Chinese laws. About 170 million Americans use TikTok. Those users include the Harris and Trump campaigns, who are using the platform to reach young voters, but the law has received bipartisan support.
I'm pretty happy about the TikTok law. I don't know how everyone feels about it, but I think it was a great thing to stop the Chinese Communist Party from influencing our elections, or at least attempting to.
President Biden could extend the deadline to sell TikTok by 3 more months if a sale is in progress. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
And on the other side of the break, more in national news. Astronauts make history returning home from a private mission. And pop star Justin Timberlake strikes a plea deal following his DWI arrest earlier this year. Stay with us.
Fox College Football Friday and Big Noon Saturday with the Big 10, Big 12, and Mountain West. College football on Fox all season long.
Maine Paving is Eastern and Central Maine's go-to for all things paving. Maine Paving specializes in commercial or residential paving, grading, seal coating, and crack filling. And get this, refer someone that schedules a job and receive a $250 Visa gift card. Currently booking for this year.
I'm a 6th grade teacher working full-time while raising my own kids. 4 years ago, we were getting ahead. But under Kamala Harris and Jared Golden, we're drowning. Food prices, energy bills, everything costs more today. Jared Golden voted to raise taxes on middle-class families. He even supported Biden and Harris's new energy tax that increased our heating costs. Biden and Kamala changed Jared Golden. He's not on our side anymore.
Restoration Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The longest lasting brand.
For best value, go with the longest lasting brand, Toyota. And at the Toyota Best Value event, you can get a Tundra, the longest lasting half-ton truck with 1.99 financing, including hybrid and gas models. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
The longest lasting brand.
So for a vehicle with long-lasting value, see your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
All That's Metal in Herman is ready to be your trusted partner for your metal roofing and wall panel projects. Our high-quality metal roofing and wall panel systems are offered in a variety of colors and styles and backed up with a 40-year warranty. We manufacture standard as well as custom sizes in our facility in Herman. Homeowners and contractors, elevate your structures with our market-leading metal roofing and wall systems. Stop by our retail store at 893 Coldbrook Road in Herman to see our selections and to discuss your upcoming project. All That's Metal, the best roof and wall systems on the market.
Your skin is ever-changing. Take care of it with Gold Bond's healing formulations of 7 moisturizers and 3 vitamins. For all your skins, Gold Bond.
Did you know taking Zysol at night relieves allergies while you sleep? So you wake refreshed for a more productive day. Get 24-hour continuous relief that does not fade. Be wise all, take Zysol at night.
Maine Paving is Eastern and Central Maine's go-to for all things paving. Maine Paving specializes in commercial or residential paving, grading, seal coating, and crack filling. And get this, refer someone that schedules a job and receive a $250 Visa gift card. Currently booking for this year.
Welcome back. More now from across the nation. The Polaris Dawn private mission to space ends as a success. The spacecraft splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico early this morning after a 5-day mission. Fox's Christina Coleman has more on some of the milestones that were achieved and what it means for the future of private spaceflight.
SpaceX's Polaris Dawn mission, flown by 4 private astronauts, successfully splashed down early Sunday morning off the coast of Florida. And there you can see the Crew Dragon Resilient splashed down around 3:40 early Sunday morning in the Gulf, completing a successful 5-day mission. The record-setting flight made history in multiple ways. The crew traveled further into space than any humans in more than 50 years. They reached a peak altitude of more than 870 miles, the furthest distance traveled from Earth by any human since the Apollo program ended in 1972. The 2 women on board set the record for the farthest any woman has traveled into space. The crew also completed the first ever private spacewalk. This mission was funded and organized by U.S. billionaire tech entrepreneur Jared Isaacman. Both Isaacman and SpaceX engineer Sarah Gillis were able to venture outside of the spacecraft. It was a giant milestone for the commercial space industry. During this trip, the astronauts also tested their new SpaceX spacesuits and their ability to send information back home, including photos. NASA says the information gathered from this trip will help them plan for deeper space travel in the future. Christina Coleman, Fox News.
In other news, Justin Timberlake striking a plea deal in his DWI case. He was sentenced to a fine and community service as well as a PSA he made outside of court. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with more.
I try to hold myself to a very high standard for myself. And this was not that. This was not that. I found myself in a position where I could have made a different decision, but I've had some time to reflect on that.
Justin Timberlake has struck a plea deal over his DWI arrest in June. The former NSYNC star pled guilty to a lesser offense of driving while ability impaired, which is a traffic violation. He was sentenced to a $500 fine with a $260 surcharge, 25 hours of community service, and a 90-day license suspension. He was also mandated to make a public safety announcement.
What I'd like to say to everyone watching and listening, even if you've had one drink, don't get behind the wheel of a car. There's so many alternatives.
The music star made the PSA outside the Sag Harbor Village Court in New York, urging people not to drink and drive. Timberlake acknowledged the mistake he made and the impact it had on the small town. He thanked everyone inside and outside the court, including the police department, and ended by saying he'll do his part to be more safe, encouraging others to do the same. The singer was arrested June 18th after police said he ran a stop sign, veered out of his lane, and got out of his BMW smelling of alcohol. In court filings, police also said he was unsteady on his feet and performed poorly on all sobriety tests. Timberlake told officers he had 1 martini and was following some friends home. He refused a breathalyzer test and had his license automatically suspended. JT. Justin Timberlake is currently on tour with a date coming up September 28th in Newark. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
No rain to complain about here. We have blue skies and lots of sun throughout this week with above average temperatures as well. How long will those above average temperatures last in our area? I'll have the answers coming right up.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
When you're ready to tackle your next building project, depend on the knowledge and experience of Hammond Lumber Company. Hammond's Home Planning Center will turn your ideas into accurate conceptual drawings, and 3D visualization is available. Your Hammond sales rep will prepare a materials list and cost estimate. And when you buy all of your materials from them, Hammond will refund all of your design fees. Hammond can deliver your order from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner since 1953.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened, has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium.
Wow, Planet Oat really has it all.
You guys are so right. No, you are.
No, you are.
No, you are.
Yeah, you are.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out Half Off Fun from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with Half Off Fun from foxbangor.com.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
You want to be a lifeguard?
Go, go, go!
This is the real deal.
On an island in the sun.
Let's take a look at those highs out there for today. Bangor at 79 degrees, Millinocket at 80, and that was the story for many areas across the state. Lots of upper 70s, low 80s. A little different by the coast, though. We can see Rockland and Bar Harbor at 73 degrees. But then if you look to the southwestern portion of the state, Lewiston at 78 and Augusta just at 80 degrees today. We saw that up north as well with Presque Isle and Holton in those upper 70s as well. So nice warm day out there for us today. We'll have some mostly clear skies tonight, maybe a few clouds rolling in around 2 to 3 a.m. Other than that, lows are going to drop down to the low 50s for tonight here in Bangor. You can see a little bit warmer by the coast near Deer Isle, near those mid to upper 50s at 57. But other than that, we can still see Wesley in those low 50s and maybe even some upper 40s to the southwestern portion of the state. A little bit warmer, though, up north. We can see Clayton Lake right around 60 degrees for their lows tonight. As we continue on into tomorrow, it's going to be nice and warm out there. We can see temperatures near the mid 80s for tomorrow here in Bangor and many areas across the state as well. You can definitely see those mid 80s in the southwestern portion of the state for tomorrow. A little bit cooler, though, by the coast. Deer Isle showing only 70 degrees for their high, and up north, upper 70s will be up there as well. So another warm day up north. Take a look at that temperature trend, though. It is going to stay warm for the next few days, but we do have a cool down coming. We can see by the weekend. But first, let's talk about these hot temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs near 85 degrees, well above average still. But as we get into Friday, that's when we're back into those low 70s, and a front is going to come through, cooling us off into Saturday and Sunday, where we'll start to see temperatures finally into the upper 60s, feeling a lot more like fall out there. Humidity right now, definitely dealing with a little bit of humidity with that heat. We can see it's a bumpy road still throughout Monday all the way through Thursday. Dew points getting above 60 degrees at times. Could definitely feel a little bit sticky out there, but once that front comes through, getting closer to Friday, that's when those dew points are going to be much more comfortable. So we are all waiting for that, of course, because it does feel a little bit sticky at night sometimes. But other than that, we are dealing with lots of high pressure, no rain to really worry about. So we got beautiful weather in the forecast for us with this high pressure, which means blue skies and lots of sun throughout the next few days. So no need to worry about any rain. It is just going to be a beautiful week with lots of nice temperatures, but we could see some rain coming into the very end of the week. Other than that, though, we are going to see these allergies ramp up. Right now, ragweeds are at a moderate and grass is at a low, but these two are going to be very moderate to high going into the end of the week. So that'll be something to keep an eye on if you do have seasonal allergies. Now is the time to prepare, because by the middle of the week is when it is going to be very, very bad for weed and grass allergies. For tonight, though, low of 52 degrees, mostly clear skies out there. Areas of dense fog as well, with winds from the south around 5 miles per hour. And lots of sun and warm temperatures for tomorrow. Highs in the mid 80s. We can see 84 here in Bangor, with a nice breeze from the southwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Taking a look at that extended forecast, lots of sun for the next few days. Temperatures in the mid 80s Tuesday and Wednesday, and we can finally see temperatures start to cool down going into Friday with partly cloudy skies and a high of 72 degrees.
All right, thanks, Chase. Stick around. Sports is next with Jack Webb.
The last few years have been tough. Biden and Kamala's inflation is crushing working families, and Jared Golden is making things worse. In Washington, Jared Golden voted with Biden and Harris to raise taxes on middle-class families, and he supported their new energy tax that is driving up our heating costs. Biden and Harris changed Jared Golden. Now he's just another tax and spend politician who sells out Mainers.
Restoration PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, has the all-electric vehicle that takes you farther. Choose from the all-electric Kia Niro or all-wheel drive EV6 and the all-new EV9. And right now, lease the award-winning EV6 for just $389 a month. Go from Bangor to Providence in one trip. No stops. The future of choice is here at Van Sickle Kia. Lease the award-winning EV6 for just $389 a month. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Are you looking to have some fun, including soaring on Skyrider, the ultimate indoor zip line? Well, come over to Urban Air, Bangor's #1 birthday party destination, located at the Airport Mall. Urban Air has gravity-defying attractions for all ages, including our Warrior Course, trampolines, enormous arcade section, and climbing walls. Call us today to schedule your birthday party. And don't forget, we have endless play memberships available as well. Urban Air, let them fly.
Preheat your ovens and your brains.
Crime Scene Kitchen is back with all new baking mysteries. Season premiere Thursday, September 26th on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. Maine football returned to Alphon Stadium on Saturday for their conference opener, taking on the Monmouth Hawks and former Maine quarterback Derek Robertson. It was a gorgeous afternoon in Orono. There's Robertson right there in the white 12 jersey. The Hawks chewed up the first 7 minutes of the game, which led to this touchdown by Soneto to open the scoring. The Black Bears would go 3-and-out after that, punt the ball back to Monmouth. Then it's Robertson to Jack Neary for the touchdown. One of Robertson's 4 touchdowns on the day. The Hawks lead 34-8 early in the third quarter, but the Black Bears answer with a touchdown run from Jahari Martin, trying to build some momentum. However, it was all Hawks today. Robertson here throws a 94-yard touchdown pass to Josh Derry. Robertson threw for 390 yards on the day, and here is what he had to say about his long-awaited return to Orono.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first I just want to, a ton of respect for Maine football, Maine University of Maine. I mean, I enjoyed my time here, for 4 years. But yeah, the familiarity was definitely, definitely helped. I practiced against them for almost 4 years, similar scheme. I know the players, but really it comes down to these other guys. I mean, these other guys are the ones making the plays.
The Black Bears gave up 632 total yards of offense to the Hawks, recording only 286 yards themselves. Here's what head coach Jordan Stevens had to say after the game.
I mean, an embarrassing loss at home for us to come in here. I think we got to do a better job as coaches putting the players in position to win. Got to do a better job of being more competitive throughout the game. To even have a chance to be in a position to win, we got to be more competitive to win. So that's the bottom line.
Tough one for the Black Bears today. They'll head down to Merrimack next Saturday looking to rebound. We head over to Brewer now, where the second ever Ken Perrone Classic was held at historic Doyle Field. Ken Perrone is a legend in the New England football community. Perrone led Brewer football and baseball teams to multiple state championships from 1967 to 1973, including the 1970 state championship team that was ranked 5th in the entire country. Ken then went on to coach down in Salem, Massachusetts, of course, winning championships there as well. Both the Brewer and Salem Witches now battle for the Cauldron Cup, and here's Perrone on who he was rooting for today.
I'm rooting for, can I turn around for a minute?
Oh, yeah. I like that.
I'm rooting for the Witches. As you can see right here, I got the Salem patch on, the Brewer 1970 patch on that won it was 5th in the nation. And then I got the Salem thing, and then I've got the pin, which showed that Brewer was #1 in Maine, #1 in the East, and #1 in New England, and #5 in the nation.
Before the game, Brewer dedicated the press box at Doyle Field to Perone, whose legend will now live on forever in Brewer. He was surrounded by friends, family, and former players today during the ceremony. Here's what he had to say about the honor.
Really surprised and very pleased. And so my family, I've got like 30 members of my family here. All my sons and daughters are here, grandkids are here, my nieces and nephews, and it just was a great, great day seeing everybody on both sides. I was just talking to a little girl up there, and she says, "Coach, do you remember me?" She says, "You had me in kindergarten." Well, now she's a 42-year-old nurse, you know, and everything, and so things like that, you know, make life worthwhile.
Such a great honor for Perone. Now for the game, Salem traveled up to Brewer this year as Brewer went down to Salem last year. Just a great event all day. Friends, family, everyone in attendance. We picked this one up. Opening drive. The Witches were looking to make a statement. Remember, they lost down in Salem last year. It's Jackson Bragolette takes the handoff to the crib for 6. The Witches are fired up. Look at these guys. They're looking to avenge that loss from last year. However, the following drive for Salem, it's Andres Burnell finds Quinn Rocco Ryan. What a name that is. Quinn Rocco Ryan, who stiff arms a defender and finds the end zone for 6. A great athlete. He was making plays all day long. Next drive, it honestly happened so fast. I missed the beginning of it, but it's Michael Curtin. He takes the sweep all the way to the house for 6. Some long touchdowns from Salem today. I know those guys were gassed in that heat, that September heat today. Shortly after, it's Rocco Ryan again, this time from 99 yards. Stiff arms a defender. He is off down the sideline. An unbelievable run from Ryan. Like I said, he was out there making plays all day. It would be all Salem Witches from then on out, winning by a score of 50-6. A day full of football here in Brewer and over in Orono. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a Republican.
A Maine Republican.
Not one of those Washington Republicans like Mike Johnson.
They want to slash Social Security and Medicare.
And raise the retirement age to 70.
They handpicked Austin Theriault to run for Congress.
And they'll control him in Washington.
But Jared Golden works for us.
Jared will stand up to both parties to protect Maine seniors.
We can trust Jared. He fights for us.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message.
When you need tires, no matter the size, Bangor Tire will service your ride and get you back on the road quick and safely. Master mechanics in the consumer division will repair your brakes, exhaust, front-end alignments, and much more. Truckers take exit 180 from I-95 for your new tires or flat repair with minimal wait time. Always free shuttle and delivery of your car in the greater Bangor area. Take Littlefield Avenue to 514 Colebrook Road, Herman, right beside Dysart. BangorTire.com.
We're more than just a tire store.
Not all John Deere tractors look like this. Which is why we're here, to help you find your match. The right size, the right price, the right fit for you. We understand your needs. Together, we're unstoppable. Together, we're united. United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
Finding the right vehicle for you and your family can be a daunting task. At Varney Buick GMC, our expert staff is here to make the journey as painless as possible. Our goal is to get you and your family in a vehicle that will best fit into your lifestyle. Communication is key, and our team makes sure to be completely transparent throughout the process, informing you on all of your options. Come experience Varney value, only at Varney Buick GMC.
Meet Stacy at Sheer Haven in Bangor. Whether you're looking for a total transformation, want to try the newest trend, or just need an expert opinion on hairstyle, Stacy is up for the task. For 15 years with a passion for custom cuts and colors, Stacy makes getting your hair done the perfect experience from start to finish.
This is Hell's Kitchen, head chefs only.
Get ready for heads to roll.
Come on! Get out!
Hell's Kitchen, head chefs only, premieres September 26th on Fox.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us. Turning now to more in local news, the Eddington Fire Department celebrated a special anniversary Saturday, their 50th year in operation. To celebrate, the department held a community event that honored past and present Eddington firefighters. The 50th anniversary celebration drew dozens of community members for family-friendly fun, viewing of the station equipment, and a historical society craft fair. Organizers from the department say that even after 50 years, they all feel like one big family.
It's important to remember our history and where we've come from, and that it's entrusted to us for the time that we're here to make it better for the next group when they come in.
We couldn't do it without all those members, and it's a family. We're one big family.
The Eddington Fire Department has responded to 11,653 calls over a 50-year time span. In other news, engines were revving and tires were squealing at Winterport Dragway this weekend. That's where the 4th annual Pine Tree Jamboree was held. This vintage drag race featured flatheads from the 1930s, 1940s, and 50s. It's organized by Eli and Lisa English of New Hampshire. The couple says over 100 cars registered for this event, and the duo even let a few guests experience the race from the passenger seat.
Lisa here today has given me a ride in her vehicle, and it was unbelievable. I cannot even put into words what just happened. It was fantastic.
This year my goal was to hit or break 50 miles per hour, which sounds really simple and easy, but in a 1929 car, it's not that easy.
Gabby Goodwin, who you just heard from, did in fact reach her goal. Her 1929 Model A Roadster hit 51 miles per hour during one of her runs down the track on Saturday. And finally tonight, a wish come true for one young boy, meeting a professional bowler today at Bayside Bowl in Portland. 10-year-old Owen is from Boise, Idaho, and suffers from severe epilepsy. He is a huge bowling fanatic and today met the PBA's top bowler, Jason Belmonte, through the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Just to get to know me a little bit better, and I get to know them and their family a little better. And Owen was incredible, incredibly brave. What he has to deal with on a daily basis, like the fact that he's smiling more than anyone here, just goes to show you how resilient and how amazing he is.
The Professional Bowling Association is holding the Elite League Elias Cup playoffs this weekend at Bayside Bowl, so Owen also got to check out some of the action on the lanes. Great to see dreams come true for him. Well, that's all for tonight on Fox 22. Join us again tomorrow for the latest in local news. Good night.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
The ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
Motorcycle accidents can happen fast. The effect on your life can be devastating.
I wasn't going to take a chance on my future.
I needed a lawyer who fights for bikers' rights.
Motorcycle law is complicated, and you'll need somebody who knows motorcycle law. A name the insurance companies know all too well.
A lawyer with the power to get you more. They got me way more than I thought I'd get.
Call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein. Right now.
Tell them you mean business.
What customers want from a garage door opener, a LiftMaster from PDQ Door delivers. Security. LiftMaster offers lighting, camera, audio, rolling code technology, and automatic locking. Connectivity. LiftMaster offers MyQ technology for remote operation and monitoring. And quiet. LiftMaster offers near silent belt drive and DC motor openers. Plus reliability, durability, battery backup. A LiftMaster is what you want from PDQ Door. Hamden, Rockport, Bath, Waterville, Holton, Presque Isle, and statewide at pdqdoor.com.
Backed by popular demand, the Lucerne Inn in Dedham presents its amazing Sunday brunch. Join us every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a culinary experience like no other. Indulge in an exquisite selection of dishes, all while enjoying breathtaking views. Seating is limited, so reservations are recommended, but walk-ins are always welcome. The Lucerne Inn Sunday Brunch, where great food meets a spectacular view. Call today to reserve your spot.
Driving the Nissan Rogue with Google built in is like...
Hey Google, turn on Rocky's Food.
the ultimate connection. Drive the award-winning Nissan Rogue today.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on the Rogue Platinum.
I'm Carl Oberg, Chief of Police. I can always tell when somebody's lying to me.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.